Welcome to the Full Moon Film Buff, episode 91. We're going to talk about Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School from 1988. I rented this from Amazon Prime. I've probably seen this before, but like the previous Scooby-Doo one, I don't remember it. As always, we start with the prominent crew and cast. This film was directed by Charles Nichols and Ray Patterson. It was written by Glenn Leopold. The cast includes Don Messick as Scooby-Doo, Scrappy-Doo, Casey Kasem as Shaggy and the Mirror Monster, Glynis Johns as Miss Grimwood, Susan Blue as Sibella Dracula, Pat Musick as Elsa Frankenstein, Marilyn Schreffler as Winnie Werewolf, Russie Taylor as Phantasma the Phantom, Patty Maloney as Tanis the Mummy, Ruta Lee as Revolta, and Frank Welker as Matches, Papa Werewolf, and the Well Dweller. Now, I discussed Ray Patterson, Don Messick, and Casey Kasem in the Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf episode. I discussed Frank Welker in the Alvin and the Chipmunks Meet the Wolfman episode. I discussed Susan Blue when I discussed Fangface. I don't normally mention where filmmakers are born, but I'll make an exception for creators born in my home state of Utah, like Charles Nichols. He got his start at Disney on Pinocchio in 1940. My favorite credit of his is his directing Charlotte's Web for Hanna-Barbera in 1973. Glynis Johns is a great actress from the classic age of Hollywood. Her two most well-known roles are as Danny Kaye's love interest in the classic The Court Jester in 1955 and the suffragist mother in Mary Poppins in 1964. However, her entire credit list is long and very impressive. Now, perhaps I should have mentioned Pat Musick when I discussed Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf, where she did voice Dracula's wife, Vanna Pyre, in a minor role. She has a long list of credits, but her highest profile appearance is probably in An American Tail from 1986. Now, this movie is Marilyn Schreffler's last role, airing after she had actually passed away. She was primarily a voice actress. Russie Taylor is a Disney legend. She voiced Minnie Mouse for 33 years and was married to the man who voiced Mickey Mouse for 2 of those decades. His name was Wayne Allwine. Her IMDb credit list is over 200 roles long. Standing 3 foot 11 inches tall, Patty Maloney got her start as a circus performer. She began acting in the early 70s. While this is one of her voice roles, she mostly appeared in person. My 2 favorite roles from her credit list are Tina from Buck Rogers in the 25th Century in 1979 and Lumpy in the infamous Star Wars Holiday Special from 1978. Ruta Lee got her big break in the musical Seven Brides for Seven Brothers in 1954. Her IMDb credit list is over 150 appearances long. So here we have another Scooby-Doo werewolf film that I don't love. Again, I'm personally not a fan of Scrappy-Doo, and he's much more prevalent here. On top of this, the constant repetitive puns were a lot. I think I just enjoy Scooby-Doo more when the supernatural element is being faked and our crew is solving the mystery. An interesting tidbit, the 5 girls from this film returned in the OKKO Let's Be Heroes episode Monster Party, released 30 years later in October of 2018. Scooby and Shaggy do not appear, but are referenced, while Russie Taylor as Phantasma, Susan Blue as Sibella, and Pat Musick as Elsa Frankenstein reprised their roles. Natalie Palamides and Kristen Lee, who voiced Buttercup and Bubbles from the 2016 Powerpuff Girls television series, took over for Winnie and Tanis respectively, as Marilyn Schreffler had died and Patty Maloney had retired. So now let's cover the synopsis. It is a dark and stormy night. Scooby-Doo, Shaggy, and Scrappy-Doo drive a red van to Miss Grimwood's finishing school for girls, where they have been hired as gym teachers. They find the school is for daughters of paranormal beings. The pupils include Sibella, daughter of Count Dracula, Elsa Frankenstein, daughter of Frankenstein Sr., Winnie, daughter of the Wolfman, Phantasma, ghostly daughter of the Phantom, and Tanis, daughter of the Mummy, all inspired by Golden Age Universal monsters. Other residents of the school include a disembodied floating hand, an octopus butler, Miss Grimwood, the headmistress herself, and her diminutive pet dragon Matches. Shaggy and Scooby are initially terrified, of course, but ultimately agree to stay on as gym teachers, as the girls take a real liking to them. The girls want to beat the adjacent Callaway Military Academy for boys and win a trophy. Now, the Callaway boys seem like nice enough lads, but the colonel, the pompous jerk. Shaggy and Scooby lead the girls on a jog and through various calisthenic exercises. This movie is very pro-exercise and healthy diet. A power-hungry witch named Revolta and her minion, the Grim Creeper, plan to kidnap the girls and make them her slaves. There are lots of gags and bad puns that don't advance the plot. At the annual volleyball match, the boys rig the volleyball with a remote control. Scooby accidentally swallows the remote and the girls win instead, even though the girls don't even know the rules of volleyball. The girls' fathers attend a Halloween night open house party. Though Scooby and Shaggy fear being in a house full of ghosts and monsters, the fathers are all uniformly friendly and polite. Why are there no mothers there? The party is a huge success. Before leaving, the monster dads warn Shaggy and Scooby not to let any harm come to their daughters, lest they face severe consequences. Revolta launches her evil plan by hypnotizing Shaggy into taking the girls on a field trip to the barren bog. Matches tags along, even after he was told to stay home. The Callaway cadets hike at the bog and get stuck in quicksand. Elsa and Tanis save the boys. Revolta's spider bats brainwash the girls one by one. Figuring this out, Scooby, Scrappy, and Shaggy, and Matches, who came anyway, head for Revolta's castle. Scrappy tries convincing the cadets to join them, but the boys refuse, believing that the girls stole the volleyball match. Arriving at the castle, the gang faces a shape-changing evil mirror monster, a giant well-dweller, and Revolta herself. Revolta makes the girls clean the castle. She makes a potion that's going to make them permanently evil at the stroke of midnight. When the clock strikes midnight, Revolta gives the girls the potion through hair dryers, which begins to take effect immediately. Scooby and Shaggy interrupt the process and accidentally reverse the potion's effect. Elsa throws Revolta's wand into a cauldron, which causes it to explode. The cadets, remorseful for treating the girls poorly and grateful that the girls did save their lives, arrive in a pedal-powered helicopter and fly everyone to safety as Revolta swears vengeance. Afterwards, the cadets and the Grimwood girls throw a party celebrating Revolta's defeat and everybody's heroism. Despite being well-liked by all their students, Shaggy and Scooby run away in terror when new monsters, an alien, the Gillman, and Godzilla, enroll their daughters at the school for the following year. As they leave, the girls and Matches wave goodbye. Shaggy, Scooby, and Scrappy give them all a final werewolf howl before driving off into the night. There is no transformation in this film. We never see Winnie or her father in human form. Papa Wolfman leans into the Lon Chaney Jr. look, while Winnie looks more like a dog girl. I was reminded of a Cocker Spaniel, but I don't know if that was intentional or not. Not surprising to find this is very much on the Monster Mash side of the werewolf spectrum. There's no time spent on the werewolf lore. In this film, viewers are introduced to a peculiar educational institution, Miss Grimwood's Finishing School for Ghouls. Here, the daughters of famous monsters are students, exhibiting inverted preferences. They delight in murky swamps rather than clean water and find joy in creepy cobweb-filled environments that would terrify most humans. They crave rotting and spoiled food and don't like fresh vegetables. This storytelling device serves as an effective tool to rapidly establish character traits and generate comedic moments. It defines characters as unique or eccentric, setting them apart from conventional protagonists. The Addams Family franchise exemplifies this brilliantly through Morticia Addams' peculiar gardening habits. Her practice of cutting rose blooms and keeping thorny stems encapsulates the family's macabre aesthetic, instantly communicating their unconventional nature to the audience. Similarly, Sesame Street's Oscar the Grouch embodies this trope with his unapologetic love for trash. Oscar's grumpy demeanor and bizarre preferences establish his curmudgeonly persona, making him a memorable and beloved character despite, or perhaps because of, his cantankerous nature. However, the trope isn't always successful. Tim Burton's Dark Shadows from 2012 provides a cautionary example. Barnabas Collins' aversion to modern conveniences, initially amusing, sometimes feels forced or overplayed. This film relies on the fish-out-of-water aspect of Barnabas' character without delving into deeper character exploration, resulting in a portrayal that feels repetitive and one-dimensional. Nuance is important when employing this narrative device, highlighting the need for character depth beyond mere quirks and inversions of expected preferences. Now, the trope of inverting preferences also serves as a tool for social commentary. By presenting characters who find joy or value in traditionally negative elements, creators can encourage viewers to reconsider what is normal, fostering a more open-minded perspective. A good example is the brilliant 2012 stop-motion animated film Paranorman, which exemplifies this concept incredibly well. The protagonist's ability to interact with ghosts, initially perceived as a negative trait that isolates him from his community, ultimately becomes the key to saving the town. However, like before, not all applications of this trope are positive. Some vampire media, for example, can glorify toxic relationships. By portraying controlling or abusive behaviors as passionate and desirable, they risk encouraging harmful dynamics. Creators should bear this in mind when employing the trope. When used thoughtfully, it can be a catalyst for important conversations about acceptance and diversity and the nature of good and evil in society. Now, the trope of characters liking traditionally negative elements can also foster empathy for those who exist outside social norms. Guillermo del Toro's The Shape of Water from 2017 exemplifies this. The protagonist's romantic attraction to an amphibian creature subverts conventional beauty standards and delves into the experiences of someone who feels alienated by society. Similarly, in Tim Burton's Edward Scissorhands from 1990, the titular character's unique hands, initially a source of fear and isolation, become instruments of artistic creation, challenging the audience to reconsider their notions of normalcy and ability. However, again, this trope isn't without pitfalls. Some media portrayals, while attempting to celebrate differences, may inadvertently emphasize oddness rather than focus on common humanity. This trope can be overused, and poor execution can lead to pitfalls in storytelling. Primary risk lies in creating one-dimensional characters, relying heavily on this single aspect, resulting in flat and predictable stories that fail to engage audiences on a deeper level. This issue is particularly evident in this particular film. These girls are caricatures, with their entire personality revolving around a preference for dark aesthetics or morbid interests, lacking the depth and complexity that would make them relatable or interesting. To avoid these pitfalls, creators should strive for balance and depth in their use of this trope. Characters should have multifaceted personalities extending beyond unconventional preferences. Motivation should also be well developed and believable. Writers can harness its power to create compelling, three-dimensional characters that challenge and engage audiences without falling into the trap of oversimplification. In conclusion, the trope of characters perceiving traditionally negative elements as positive remains a common narrative device. Its potential to create memorable, distinctive characters is matched by its ability to challenge social norms and foster empathy for others. When used thoughtfully, this trope can enrich storytelling. When not used thoughtfully, this trope can make things boring. So, if you like lycanthropes, like, share, and subscribe. Contribute your thoughts and additional observations in the comments below. Let me know what I missed or what you noticed. Next, I plan on discussing Blue Demon, El Demonio Azul from 1965. Keep your eye on the moon, a silver bullet in the chamber, and we'll see you back here next episode.